If you're over 60 and finding that your hair just doesn't look the way it used to, maybe it falls flat right after styling. Maybe it looks thin no matter what products you use. You're not alone. And the solution might be much simpler than you think. You don't need another expensive serum or a complicated routine. What you might really need is the right haircut. In today's video, I want to share a haircut that completely changed the way I felt about my fine, thinning hair. It's a cut I've now recommended to countless clients, especially women in their 60s and beyond, and the response has been amazing. This is the one cut that can make your hair look 3 times thicker, without layers, without fuss, and without hiding behind hats or headbands. If you've been feeling frustrated with your hair, or even a little less confident because of it, stay with me. This might be exactly what you've been needing. Personal story and emotional connection. I want to take a moment to share something personal with you, because I think it's important we talk openly about the things that affect how we feel about ourselves, especially as we age. A few years ago, I went through a very emotional journey with hair loss. I was diagnosed with alopecia, and for a while, it felt like my hair was disappearing faster than I could process what was happening. I remember looking in the mirror and not recognizing myself. It wasn't just about vanity. It was about identity, about feeling feminine, feeling like me. I eventually decided to get a hair transplant, which was a big step, and I documented the whole process because I wanted others to know they weren't alone. Hair loss can feel incredibly isolating, and I know that firsthand. Even after the transplant, my hair was still very fine. I didn't magically get full, thick hair overnight. I had to learn how to work with what I had, and that's what led me to this haircut. It may sound simple, but it gave me back something I had lost: confidence. That's why I'm so passionate about sharing this with you today, because you deserve to feel good when you look in the mirror, too. The haircut that changes everything. The haircut I'm talking about is called a blunt bob or a blunt lob, depending on the length. And trust me when I say, it's a game changer for fine or thinning hair. What makes this cut so special is that it creates the illusion of fullness without needing layers or heavy styling. Every strand of hair ends at the same length, which builds a strong, clean line at the bottom. That single detail can make your hair look dramatically thicker, instantly. Now, I know a lot of women over 60 feel hesitant about going shorter, and I get it. You might worry it'll make your face look rounder, or draw attention to your neck or jawline. But this cut is surprisingly versatile. If you want something soft and flattering, the lob, which falls around the collarbone, is a beautiful choice. It frames the face, covers the neck just enough, and still feels fresh and modern. If you prefer a more structured, lifted look and have sharper features or a slimmer face shape, a bob that floats just below the jawline might be the perfect fit. Either way, the goal here isn't just to cut your hair. It's to give you a shape that brings your confidence back and works with your natural texture. Not against real texture. Not again. Choosing the right length for your face and features when it comes to this haircut. The length you choose makes all the difference, and it should always be based on what flatters you, not just what's trendy. For example, if you have a rounder face, or if you're someone who feels self-conscious about your neck, a longer blunt cut. A lob is often the most flattering option. It gently grazes the collarbone, elongates the face, and provides just enough coverage to make you feel comfortable and polished. On the other hand, if you have a more defined jawline or an oval face, you might love the look of a true bob, something that hits just below the chin. It draws attention upward, highlights your bone structure, and gives off a crisp, elegant feel. But one thing I always recommend is, be mindful of where the blunt line falls. A strong line right at the jaw can unintentionally highlight areas you might not want to, especially if you're a bit self-conscious about sagging skin or deep lines. Just shifting that line slightly lower can make a world of difference. So when you're thinking about this cut, think about what you want to highlight and what you'd rather soften. A great haircut doesn't just follow your face shape. It respects the story your face tells and helps you feel like the best version of yourself. Avoid this common mistake that can ruin the look now. Here's something really important that not many people talk about. The direction of the cut. One of the biggest mistakes I see, especially with bobs, is cutting the hair shorter in the front and longer in the back. It's often done in an attempt to look modern or edgy, but in reality, it tends to have the opposite effect, especially on mature faces. That reverse angle can actually weigh the face down. It creates a heaviness at the nape of the neck while leaving the front looking hollow and flat. And when your hair is already fine, that's the last thing you want. Trust me. I've had that cut done before, and I couldn't wait to grow it out. Instead, what works beautifully for women with thinning hair is a soft forward angle. Slightly shorter in the back, gradually longer toward the front. I'm not talking about a dramatic slope. Just a subtle shift that gives your face some lift and makes the hair appear fuller around face. It creates a natural frame, brings attention upward, and keeps everything looking balanced and light. So when you're at the salon, this is one of the most important things to tell your stylist. It's a small detail that makes a huge difference in how the haircut sits and how you feel when you wear it. Your fringe, your rules, how to customize the front. Let's talk about one of the most underestimated parts of any haircut, the fringe, or as most of us call it, bangs. The way you design the front of your hair can completely change your look. And, more importantly, how you feel about it. And the best part, you've got options. If you're not quite ready to commit to full bangs, consider a curtain fringe. It gently parts in the middle or slightly off-center and blends into the sides, creating a soft, face-framing effect. It's low maintenance and incredibly forgiving, perfect for trying something new without going all in. It also gives you the illusion of volume without adding bulk. If you've always liked the idea of side-swept bangs, that's another great option. Especially if you have a higher forehead or want to draw attention away from deep lines in that area. Side bangs can be cut longer or shorter, depending on your style, and they're flattering on nearly every face shape. And of course, if you're bold and love a polished French-inspired look, a full fringe across the forehead can be stunning. Just keep in mind it does take a bit more upkeep and styling. Whatever you choose, the key is making sure it complements your haircut, your face, and your lifestyle. You don't need to follow trends. You just need to choose what makes you feel comfortable, confident, and beautiful. Softening the base without losing volume now that you've got the shape and front figured out. Let's talk about a small but crucial step that can take your haircut from good to great: softening the baseline. One of the reasons a blunt cut makes hair look so thick is because every strand ends at the same point, creating that solid, weighty finish. But sometimes, especially if you have a lot of fine hair, that strong line at the bottom can feel a bit too heavy or stiff. We're a little too heavy or stiff. Where a little finesse comes in. You don't need layers, and you certainly don't want to thin it out too much, but you can ask your stylist to soften the ends slightly. A technique like scissor over comb or deep point cutting allows your stylist to take out just enough bulk at the very bottom without affecting the fullness of the shape. It keeps the volume, but lets the hair move more naturally. The result? You still get the thickness and structure of the blunt cut, but with added softness and flow. It's especially helpful if you like to style your hair both straight and wavy. It makes it more versatile and a lot easier to work with. So if your hair tends to bunch up at the bottom or feel too blocky, this subtle adjustment can make styling easier and more flattering. So let's bring this all together. If you've been struggling with fine thinning hair, and especially if you're over 60, it's easy to feel like your best hair days are behind you. But they're not. Sometimes, all it takes is the right haircut. One that works with your hair texture, flatters your face, and restores your confidence. The blunt bob or lob isn't just a trend. It's a timeless, powerful choice for women who want their hair to look fuller, healthier, and easier to manage. With the right length, a soft forward angle, and a personalized fringe, this cut does more than change your appearance. It changes the way you feel when you walk past a mirror. So if this spoke to you, maybe it's time to stop fighting your hair and start working with it. Talk to your stylist, show them photos. Ask for the adjustments that suit your face and lifestyle. And most importantly, remember that this stage of life isn't about fading into the background. It's about standing tall, looking beautiful, and feeling proud of who you are every single day. You deserve to love your hair again.